Pretty well. I did a little damage. I'm fusing in a little bit. 9 hours and 36 minutes. 50 miles.
Insane. By the way,
We'll talk about that. I don't want to make the same type of me. Okay,
it's making me feel painful. I think.
good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Village of New Paltz Zoning Board of Appeals, the meeting of Tuesday, May 9th, 2023. We've got 3 items on the agenda tonight. We don't have any public hearings scheduled. The first item we have up is 181 Huguenot Street, that's ZB 23-03. Are the applicants present? Can you come up, please? You can sit on both sides of the table. We allow it. And just before you get started, I'd like to introduce our new attorney on board. Her name is Emily. She's at this meeting now. Let's welcome her on board and wish her a lot of luck. And I'm sure she'll be a great asset and use to the village. So welcome aboard, Emily, and we're really happy to have you. Okay, with the niceties out of the way, let's get to 181 Huguenot Street. Why don't you talk a little bit about your variance and what it is that you're asking us for?
Well, basically, if you've read this, so I'll just try to summarize it.
No. Say it all. I'm going to be honest with you. I've been on the board 8 years, and I've served the last 2 as a chairman. And I don't see a lot of use variances come through here. So a use variance, I'm not sure if you're familiar with how they work. They are held to 4 standards, and they are very stringent standards. Okay, use variances are not issued with the same frequency by any means as an area variance. So what you're asking for here is it's a hill to climb. So take your time and present and say what you want to say. You have as much time as you need to do that. So do not summarize.
We came onto the property on June 1st, 2022, and were given by the owner the easement and told it was a historical district.
You're arborvitae, am I correct by saying that?
My name is Claudia Keel, and this is Diana Isidro, nervous, but
Take your time, it's okay.
we are the directors of Arborvitae.
What is arborvitae?
Arborvitae is an herb school. It's a land-based educational school, and we are a hybrid school. We we are at the property for 8 weekends of a year. We have 9 weekends, but we are away. Even with that, we'll do day trips all throughout the area. And the rest of it is online, but the time that we're in person, and it's our home, a place of work, but also the residence of one of our workers.
Are people living at this address?
Yes, it's a house.
Full time?
Yes.
How many people are living there?
One woman with her 2 children.
Okay. There's a big, obviously, when someone is living there as a home occupation, it holds a little different weight. So we may ask for some type of proof of that, because that will impact our voting when the time comes. Go on.
Are the kids in New Paltz school districts?
Yeah. They're both in 9 and 13. So to go forward, so we introduced ourselves to the Wallkill Land Trust. They were very supportive. There had been other people on the property since the easement had been developed, and they couldn't do a lot of the things because it was a restrictive easement, but saw arborvitae in line with the agricultural use of the house while we're educational. And I actually have a letter that she just sent, but we hopefully will get a different kind of letter that will also outline more than that, but we can give that because there's another house on the property, for example, that can't be used except for agricultural uses according to that, but she saw our school, they're very strict at the Wallkill Land Trust as educational agricultural work. So to go forward with that, so we introduced neighbors were in the historical commission and they knew about us. We had open house right away or within a month, and told them about us. We've been very open in other ways, but we asked neighbors about it. They've only welcomed us with open arms, been very happy. They've come. We do a number of different things within the community. We're still just getting landing because it's a really big deal to just move and start in a new place. But within that, I've outlined a number of organizations we've done classes for free, but we offer our free health clinics and people come to that. We actually support, because we do these walks, so we support the areas where we do walks in. Yeah.
This might be a silly question, and if I missed it, so the education is for school age, adult?
It's adult.
Adult,
It's
okay,
adult,
that's right,
excuse me.
all right.
It's a wide range from, anybody just graduating from high school
Okay,
to, 70 years old or more, so, and they're all in one class.
How many people in a class?
It varies. It could be 10 and it was 20. The biggest class this year was 25.
And you charge each person for this class, correct?
We charge for the program as a whole. We also we also give our own payment plans at no charge and also give scholarships at no charge. And because so
Who
we
pays for the scholarships?
pay for them.
Yeah, there's
I asked for this because one of the factors is a reasonable financial return on what you do. So if you're not making money at this now, why do you need a variance to keep a business there?
We're not making money at it. What do
Well,
you
if
mean?
you're saying that you're giving out scholarships and they come from you and that you have other ways as far as payment, this is a business, correct?
Yes, we've taken pay cuts to do this. And so.
No, I understand that, but one of the factors we look at is if you invest in a piece of property and you acquire a use variance for it, is whether or not you're getting a reasonable rate financial on your return. Like an example of it would be someone who buys a building and the bottom floor is commercial and the upper 4 floors are all residential, but they can't rent out the commercial part of it. They want to switch over to a residential. They'll ask for a use variance to do that because they're not making enough money. That's fine.
We're not doing it because of that. We came in there as a school.
Okay, so it says here though, to operate capable of earning any financial return, to continue to provide a home to our family occupied residents, to continue to pay our team of 8 who are dependent on the income we provide. So there's a financial reason that you need this. So what do you charge per each student and how many students do you bring in at a time? So you said 10, do you try to bring in as many as you possibly can to bring
No,
in?
we have a limit because of the size of the rooms, first and foremost, but also because it's a very personal apprentice-like kind of program.
This is the first year having this on
This
this,
is our first year there, but this is our 10th year. We just finished it.
but you said you purchased this in April?
We didn't purchase it. We're renting it.
You rented it, but you've
When's
been
your lease
renting.
up? When's your lease up?
It was renewed and we, for another, I guess, June 2020.
So you've been doing this 9 years without a variance?
City.
Okay, that's what I'm
So,
saying.
We've located in the city, we're in Chelsea, we're in Brooklyn, and this is our first year moving out of New York
This
City.
address, correct?
And-
Yes.
That's what my question was.
Yep.
Okay, so this is your first year in Huguenot. So you purchased you rented the place, or leased the place without really an understanding to what there was a variance required here, possibly when you did this, correct? Okay.
And we did,
And how long,
Introduce
to
yourself.
Sean's question, how long are you on the lease for?
well,
They just
I mean, you
renewed it.
can answer for that, but it's technically another year and a half. But I think we're actually hoping to buy the property through some nonprofits helping us to do that. So this is really for us to be here long term. It's not meant to be
It's,
something short.
So you have, let's say, 10 students?
Oh, no, we have more than 10 students. We have 3 different classes
Right,
going
so
on.
how many
at once.
total?
How many total? There's about anywhere from 50 to 60 a year.
And how much do you get per student?
$7,300.
That's what we ask, but we don't get that much. for each student.
Yeah, we offer scholarships, like she mentioned.
And there's
So-
usually,
Yeah, one of the things here is financial. So this is why we ask these financial questions. So this is generating, let's say conservatively, over $300,000 a year. Am I right by saying that?
We have faculty of about 40 teachers, guest teachers.
Do they work, do they work for free or
No, they
No.
get paid. Everyone gets paid.
yeah,
during across 10 weeks? So it's a 10-week program,
no,
right?
it's in the program.
9 months. Okay.
It's a 3-year program that runs from September to May. We operate on an academic school year to make it accessible for parents. And so there's 3 years in the program.
How many days a week are they going?
They're meeting 8 weekends a year at the school, Friday, Saturday, and
Okay, that's
Sunday,
good.
and the rest of the time they're meeting on Zoom. It's a hybrid.
Okay, so they're not there the 9 months. It lasts that long, but they're only on the weekends.
Yes,
right?
yeah, so they have,
it's 3 weeks.
there's actually 9 weekends, but one of the weekends is in another place, a celebratory
It's
weekend.
about 27 days that you have people on the property.
At
It's a business.
At the
Yeah.
end of the 3 years, what do they, like, what, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, what do they get?
Yeah, like, what's it called?
Yeah.
It's, they get a diploma. We used to call it a certificate, but it's, 3 years, it's equal to a master's degree of work. And it is not a licensed profession
In New York State.
in New York State or in the United States.
Mm.
to
Okay.
be. So there is not the same oversight about it, but there is peer, the American Herbalist Guild, which does peer-reviewed professional recognition, and our school is listed there, and it's also more than forgetting the word, we meet all their educational standards for to train somebody as an herbalist.
So your ultimate goal is to turn this into a nonprofit school, take it off the tax rolls.
That is a possibility. When we founded this school, we had all worked in nonprofits and it didn't go so well with people trying to do. So we just started as a small business and we operate like a nonprofit. We have a nonprofit arm that's not active right now. When we understood what a B Corp was, we were going to switch, but we couldn't. Cost too much money to switch.
How much is the property going for? Like round numbers?
Can I give you a little background?
Sure.
The property was in Warren Jewett. I don't know if you guys knew Warren. Dave Jewett was the original guy who had the dairy farm there. Next door house to the south is the creamery. They had milk cows. It was a farm. And so what happened is there was a easement, a conservation easement placed on the farm. And then it was sold.
How much was it sold for?
It was sold for $1.5 million. Sold for $1.5 million.
At what time?
Oh.
Like 20 years ago?
Years, and then,
Okay.
and then what happened is about 3 or 4 years ago, the current owner, New Yugo LLC, purchased it for $2,400,000.
3 years ago, you said?
About 4 years ago. And they bought it. So that's the history. What happens is that this place has always been a farm. Colucci farms the hay to feed his cows, his cattle. There's a milking cow farm in Gardner. So there's a barn there that's beautiful. I know you've probably seen it, that big yellow barn on the street. That was a dairy, just for raising cattle. As a matter of fact, for a while ago, Colucci was using the barn, renting the barn for cattle. But I guess it got too cumbersome or something. Beats me. But so right now they're raising cattle. The cost of the profits for the owner for the paying is $5,000 a year. And they also get a tax. You talk about taxes, so they get a big tax cut. on the property, but it's what keeps it going. So somewhere along the line, I mean, there's got to be a good use so that someone would want to come in there, maintain the barn, maintain the grounds, keep it cut, that sort of thing. And talking about economic impediment. The economic impediment is we want to keep that place as it is, which is a barn, historical. The conservation needs to exist to keep the view shed. And I think that's what everyone would like to do and keep these stagnant.
So if I was making $300,000 a year and I went to the bank and asked for a $2.4 million house loan, they would laugh at me hysterically. And that would be supporting 4 people. I'm confused on the math on how you're going to support 10 people and pay the note on a $2.4 million property on $300,000 a year coming in. That math, I'm really interested in math, and that doesn't make any sense to me. Because if it does, I'll buy it right now.
I understand that. It does, and so obviously Arbor Vitae with its own structure can't buy this place as it is in that way. But there are a number of nonprofits that exist to support farming businesses and what we do. And there's other, I mean, even neighbors have already volunteered to try to raise money for us. There's 2 different organizations we started, but then we pulled back when all this happened to try to raise some money. And then otherwise we would sort of resuscitate the nonprofit and do it that way to raise some money to do that. That's some of the ways we began to thinking, but if we can't be there, we can't.
What did you know about New Paltz when you decided to lease here?
I actually spent a lot of time on that street farm, friends with Ron and Kate Kusla, who bought that at the time. And I actually, at the time when they bought it, I had hoped to buy like 5 acres. And so it was really amazing when we found this property right next to it, because I had very much bonded to the property, Huguenot Street Farms. That was back in the late 90s.
So if you know the historic district, you know that we don't run businesses out of there.
I did not know that, first of all, because
How long have you knew New Paltz though? You know that district. That's not, that's,
People are gonna like.
I mean,
I don't want to interrupt you. Just wanted to, when you're ready. Okay, thanks. I just wanted to explain though, I don't know if you're aware of how the zoning works,
Yeah.
that you're in the H district.
Yes.
And if you go into the code, which is on the internet, you can look up all the uses that are allowed in the H district. And the
Yeah.
ones that have a dash next, the ones with a P are allowed, the ones with an S are allowed by special use permit,
Yeah.
and the ones with a dash are not allowed. So those are the rules of the game that everyone, has to play by. And so for the board to grant a use variance, they have to, they have to make a finding that none of the allowed uses is profitable at this location or is feasible at this location. And that the only way to use this is by allowing a different use that's not in the zoning table. So that's really what you need to, prove to the board. Is that accurate, Mr. Chair?
yeah, that's
Yeah.
absolutely. It's-
Wait, I had a question a minute ago. So while this is happening, the school, the rest of the property is still like Colucci still, and that's not through you guys. The landowner is 2 separate agreements.
Yeah.
I'm your representative.
Okay. So yeah, so the landowner and the land management is trying to lease or has leased this building to them that they want for this variance, and the rest of the land is still functioning for within variances or within
If I may just for 1 second speak to Mr. O'Sullivan's point about economic, yeah, you're absolutely right. I'm not gonna, but there are state grants, there are federal grants, and there's an awful lot of help to keep farms moving. So this, although it is agricultural use, they had planned to put in a garden to raise things. I happen to have been very close to a family that was up in Saugerties and started to think, well, quantum herbal products. And so I'm a believer in herbal remedies and in herbal medicine. And so
this is what I'm going to get back to you.
okay.
You're running a business in a historic district. You've got 50 to 60 kids. That's parking. That's cars coming in and out. That's traffic. That doesn't belong there. Now, you've been in business for a long time. If you know the historic district, the diligence needs to be done before you make a decision on this, and it is not an excuse that you did not know. All right, you know that area. I don't feel comfortable running a business out of there where you're gonna have traffic. There's people walking dogs on that road. There's people who have bought that property there specifically because there are no businesses over there.
We got very good.
Sections of that road are
Pardon me?
closed down on weekends
Pardon
also.
I say Garbins is
If
there.
your weekends align. with
Garvin's is
them,
grandfathered in and it's way off the middle
No
of the
problem.
section.
You know, you're there.
You
So
know,
let
there's a golf
me
course there
share a
too.
little bit about the specific nature of our school that might make it a little bit more clear. It's not in the way that you're describing it, it will never exist in that way, quite in the way that you are saying it at least.
How are the people going to get in and off, in and out of the
So-
building?
The majority of people, not the majority, but a good deal take the bus up. One of the reasons we needed to be there is near the bus station and they walk.
So if I issue a use variance for this, I tie it to the bus line? I can't prevent people from driving in. So you're telling me that
Don't drive in, I'm just saying that that's,
how most of you people come, right? That's today. My variance goes forever. So
I understand that. So, but just to sort of say the use and the driving is, if most of them carpool, so it's not that much. We actually have them mostly park on the two edges of them. They don't park there and they walk in, just to do that even. But the neighbors have all seen, the neighbors will be able to testify that we don't provide that kind of energy of disturbance. It feels still very peaceful within the historical district. And actually we're somebody that actually, is desirable for them to be there, to have that, bring that life back.
we'll set a public hearing and we'll hear from the public. I'm sure that people will be heard on
It's
this.
important to remember though, that like you said, if we give this variance, unless we were to specifically tie all of these tiny little details, which isn't something we can or likely will do, that I'm not doubting that you are managing like the amount of people there and keeping nice, but you could not. And there's nothing we can do about it after the fact. If we tell you that you can have this use variance, then you could just do
You can
whatever
expand
you
that
want.
school to 100 kids for all I know.
It's with the land, so it goes.
Yeah,
to the next-
and not even
The
like
next,
so.
the
so
next group could be a
Can we
capital.
stop you from doing 50 kids?
Well,
You
you
can,
could- I
we're
mean-
making 7,600 a kid, I could do 100. So this is a big thing.
And it's not even like, that's, for me, the important thing is it's not even necessarily you specifically or the company specifically, if you tie to like a positive, like I get all that, but
Are you guys the owners of the
it's
company?
on the land.
Are you the owners of the company?
No, I represent the.
Okay, you're the attorney.
If I may, for 1 second, I understand what you're saying, and you could limit this if you were to look at it as a special use is permitted by right, but with reasonable restrictions.
I could tie certain things to it, but I don't know how much I can restrict a business legally once I grant a variance.
Well,
I
you-
can't tell you can only make $300,000 there.
No, but I'm
They'll
saying.
never hold up.
I'm saying you
I can
could.
tell you that right now.
Easily restrict the size of the classes.
I do
But
not
even-
think that, and
if
I don't even
right now
want to
you
get
gotta
that
do
far
what you
yet.
can.
Okay.
All right, I don't want to get that far.
There's no way
We
to
give you
enforce
this
that.
variance and
You're not
for
gonna.
some
what are
reason
we gonna,
move
like,
on,
have
and someone
so-and-so
finds out that
counter?
this property has this variance, like they could open a school that's
Yeah.
has classes 7 days a week.
We could tie it to, well, first of all, we're trying to point out also that we're a particular kind of school that is that's land-based, it's agricultural based.
I get you.
And that's why.
I get that.
It's complicated
listen.
because
So.
It's an
actually-
altruistic giving school. I get it.
We get
It's
that.
gonna come here, that would train in investment bankers, all right?
Contain from your perspective, but it is in the easement, how agriculture, there are businesses, there's.
Have you spoken to the Historic Commission on this?
We, not indirectly, I had all these conversations in there and then this happened, then we found out about
What's the
somebody.
Historic Commission say on this? Have you got anything?
So there's a neighbor across the street, we were gonna, and they knew right from the day before we even moved in that we were there and we're.
Right.
Came to.
This is what's gonna happen. We're gonna schedule a public hearing. I think we have a pretty good feel of the business that you're running out of there and how many people are going on and off the property, correct? I think those are the key when we're running a business. I'm gonna get with the Historic Commission. It'd be always beneficial if you get with them and if they support your cause. I'm gonna tell you, that's probably one of the more weight will lend us to this if they feel that you're an asset to that community, to that neighborhood. That will help you. It's not a guarantee, but it will help you. If you have a very positive public hearing, listen, I've been here 23 years. I know what 28 years. And I know what the people down there are, what they value.
Yeah.
All right,
They get upset when
that's a
things
good
aren't in their
word.
neighborhood.
all right.
They're giving these guys a hard time about the height. And they're not even, then they're on Main Street.
They're on Main Street.
They're on Main Street and the people from that neighborhood are coming here in droves. So I'm not looking forward to
All right,
next
so
meeting.
I tell you what, I'll,
Say, just for the record, that we support our neighbors in that, like, you know, like, and that we want to be a part of that historical maintenance of that street and the beauty of that street and continue on. I mean, it was preserved as a farm and continue on so it can be something like that. And so we want to work with all of that and that's why.
this is far more complicated than what you think. Allowing a business to run out of there has tentacles that reach much further than I like to keep the barn as pretty as I can. That is, believe me, I get it, but this is not an area variance. This is a use variance, and a use variance entitles you to do some things that are going to be against the character of that neighborhood. Or if you sell that property, or you sell that business and someone else comes in there, I can't stop them from doing what they want to do because they've got a variance there to run a business at. So I'm going to need, I'm going to need to hear from the Historic Commission on this. I'm going to need to hear, we're going to set a public hearing on this. I'll let you add right now anything else that you want to add, but I get it. It's a good school. I get what you're going to say. Okay. And I'm not trying to cut you off, but you're not going to come here and say that, listen, we're training, stockbrokers out of the school and we're going to do 500 of them and they're going to be turning around. You're going to come to me and you're going to tell me that this is going to be a benefit to the community and we're doing something beautiful and we're going to, I get it, but it doesn't matter what you're going to do with it because my variance goes forever. So it's really important what we see what the neighborhood says.
Is that it's in the variance, it's because I feel like this would actually, what I would want as a neighbor, that it would be a land-based kind of school, not training stockbrokers kind of thing.
Your business is your business. I'm changing the use of it.
But we're,
Am
so
I wrong
also
by
with
that,
the-
Emily? If I give her, she could run any business they want out of that at some
We
point.
could run a paramilitary group out of it because they work with the land and put land. on it.
The use table.
That's a school. I don't think we want that.
Instructional use. So,
But the size of the classes, instruction, what type of instruction? I can't
Yeah, I
control
mean,
any of that.
it's CrossFit's instruction.
Right.
The Wallkill land trusts recognize, so in the easement, they exempt farming, for example, as a commercial use. Farming is, but they look at the herb school as a farming, educational farming use,
I'm
agricultural
not
use.
sure what you mean by exempt. I think what you should really do is go and look at the zoning code, look at. the
Yeah, I was
uses that are
talking
allowed.
about the easement, I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, it's completely different. The town's restrictions are through the zoning code, and that's the whole ballgame for
I
us.
have a question. Is it not possible to scope the use as to educational and a special, you need a special permit, you need the planning board to put restrictions on it? Would that not? I mean, it's not like, we're
I
not asking.
can't give you legal
Oh,
advice. I think
I'm
if you want to
asking
know
that
how
as a-
the.
I know, but as an
codes work-
administrator, not as an attorney.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, would it be possible to say, you applicant, go to the planning board, see if it's a special use, you're permitted by right with reasonable restrictions, make the restrictions for educational only, size of class, and come back here for.
Do you have something in front of the planning board? Is there something in front of them right now?
Waiting for you.
How did
I
this,
understand
how
that,
did this all come?
So
to
you're gonna
fruition?
you're gonna do work on that building?
How did this all of a sudden,
Hold
you're
on.
running, okay.
You guys have, are you going in front of, you plan on going in front of the planning board?
No, we have no plan.
Oh, all right, so then I don't know,
Oh, no.
Yeah.
you're here.
No, but I'm just offering this as a
Oh,
way
okay,
to
go ahead,
scope,
Sean, I'm sorry.
scope the use.
If you had something in front of the
In other
planning board,
words,
you're
if
gonna
you
do
say
work
it's
on the
okay
building, I
for,
don't see it.
if you say it's okay for school, we're not gonna put in a machine shop, you know?
It could be a machine shop to teach these
Yeah.
machines, and you could be running loud machines out of there.
Well,
For
Do you, like,
how to run a tractor.
yeah, diesel tractor mechanics are agricultural schools,
Well,
like.
Yeah.
that's-
well,
There's so many.
we can't-
How did this actually go down that you are before us? Like, who busted you?
What busted us? We called, when we found out, we called Corey.
Okay.
Basically, we were, I really want to emphasize, I wrote it down here and for everybody, it could be publicly, how we did everything we understood to do, because the main thing we were told is about the easement. And that we also just knew that we found out about what we had the neighbor, no one ever, we didn't understand because within the easement, we fit into the school. We were an herb school. It all seemed all fine. We were very open. We worked with numerous nonprofits. We worked with the library, we worked here, we did. So
How long is
everything
your
was,
lease?
and so what happened was we knew that we needed to do an application to start an herb garden. We applied to the historical commission. Corey found out about it. Then we were told that he found it. So then I called him
So
that was the
And that was
first
2
time.
weeks ago.
We speak to Corey, right? So I'll get the story from Corey. So,
Yeah.
um,
That was 2 weeks.
so your lease goes, when did you sign your lease? Is it a 2-year lease? When you sign? 1 year?
1 year,
They're on extension, the 1 year extension.
You're on, all right, so
So
so the year has been up, then you're on it, you're just almost
No, we
on,
please.
how
I
long,
mean,
when does your lease expire? Give me the exact date,
2024.
Yeah.
a
And,
year from now.
and within that, we're hoping to start the process of raising money to buy the property.
All right, I'm gonna set a public hearing on this. We'll see who comes. It'll be set for our next meeting, before I make a request on it. When is our next meeting? It's June 13th. What you gonna say, June 19th? All right, so it's June 13th. Let's start with that first. Can I get a motion for the issue, for a public hearing on our next meeting, to open a public meeting on June 13th?
Motion.
For ZB 23-03, 181 Huguenot Street.
Motion.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
So we'll have a public meeting that day. For June 13th, I'll open it that day. We'll schedule it for the 13th. Real quick, you know what you need to put out for publication to make sure that area knows. Okay.
We'll talk to the secretary.
Yeah, because it will be well attended. I have a sneaky suspicion.
If I may, sir.
Go ahead.
I'm just offering this on. You know your business, I don't.
No, what I know is this is what I know. I know that to protect the aesthetics of the town. That's what our job is, and the character and the community. That's what we're entrusted to do when we allow someone to go outside that purview. That's what I know.
But I just want to say this, there is a restrictive covenant, a conservation easement by both Open Space Institute, which I'm sure you're aware of, and.
I'm not, but I'm gonna look
Oh,
into
Open
it.
space is huge, huge. They have gazillions of acres up and down Eastern here. Thank you. They're the ones that allowed Minnewaska to be sold to the state, because when the Marriott wanted to buy it, they came in, they took title to it and held it for 4 years before the state could, DEC. could
Right.
close it. They do a lot of.
They protect it. Okay. So what does that have to do right here?
Well, okay, they've got a covenant and it dovetails, and also the Walkill Valley Land Trust also has one. They have one in conjunction that says in perpetuity, you can't do anything on that land except agricultural. Now, I don't know if that does any of this, dovetails with your concerns about getting a machine shop or anything, but in other words, you can't do anything without the Walkill Valley Land Trust and OSI putting their imprimatur on it.
Oh, I understand that, and I'm sure that's not quite apples to apples. One is, you brought up Minnewaska State Park, that's a park.
No,
I
I'm
have
just
people
saying.
who live on that block, who are there for a specific reason, who pay quite a bit in taxes for the protection of that property. I'm also there to maintain the fee of that property and the amount of traffic that goes through there, the character of that neighborhood, all those things. I'll be very honest with you, I've been on the board 8 years. I'll be very straight with you. I've never issued a use variance.
I'm sorry.
I've never issued a use variance.
Okay.
Ever. So it is, and that's just not because I don't like issuing. I will tell you that the parameters that are done, there's 4 factors that we go through. They are extremely stringent. And one of them is, like anything, is it self-created? And I measured how self-created it is, what the financial hardship, what the character of the neighborhood is. Is there another way to get around this? All these factors. So my advice is to go to Historical Commission and see what they can do to talk to us. Because you got an uphill battle. Okay, I'm serious. So you have a public hearing. Get with the secretary, get with Autumn and our county clerk, and she'll tell you what you need to do to get the publications out. Make sure that it's well documented. If it's very important that notice is seen and people will come. And then I would go to the Historical Commission on your own. I will also talk to them, or members of our board will, but I would go ahead and talk to them yourselves. And it'd be very helpful if you get a buy-in from them. All righty. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good evening.
Too.
Well, yeah. So well, we gave that.
I'll set it all up and you go.
No, that's the same thing.
No.
Thank you.
Sorry.
I was wondering.
Oh, no, you really hit the ground running, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome. You really hit the
Thank
ground
you.
We're
running.
gonna have a hanging.
All right. Let's bring up 137 and 145 Chestnut. Those guys are here. Come on up.
Machine. That was a good, I like that example.
Sponte use variances. It's a new one. I've never heard.
Thank you.
All right, come on up, Scott. I don't remember you're the architect, am I correct? No,
Project manager.
project manager. That's what I do every day. A project manager.
Chairman, Nick Werner,
Nick,
Scott Arnold.
Scott. Okay, so you decided to withdraw the appeal. Thank you on that. That always makes everything a lot easier for us. There was factors around that. I'm not going to get into them, but the board does appreciate to go down this route, which I think is a much cleaner route. So, okay. There's a lot of moving parts with the appeal, so it isn't going to be that easy. So you've got a variance in front of us for some setbacks. Am I correct? Let's start that off there. Okay.
That's
Why don't we get all these nice maps out here and we'll go through them a little bit.
Just to, if I could, while you're doing that, Mr. Chair, just to point out one item of business. Jokingly, there was some reference to the height variance. That request, we will not be back.
Yeah,
to
no,
the
you don't need
ZBA. So it was determined, I guess there was a misinterpretation or a missed item when Corey did the initial review of the plans, and he looked at the height. He counted the parapet as part of the height of the building, and the parapet does not count for the purposes of the height. So therefore, we did not need the height variance in the first place. So
That's good, because we only get one.
we're handing you back that variance today for 2 feet harder tomorrow.
You should say that.
First time is always practice, exactly.
However, while we got that one wrong, he accidentally missed, or he accidentally missed the side yard issue because of the conflicts in the 2 codes. One being the bulk density schedule, and obviously one, the NBR regulations.
Right.
Hence why we're here tonight and why we've withdrawn our request for you to overrule his
Yeah,
determination.
that's fine. Okay, so we've got 137, we got 145. I'm
Yeah,
looking at both.
We're
of them.
not on 145. I think they withdrew their request tonight to be on the agenda. We're not
They asked for us to.
adjourn that. Yeah.
Oh, even better.
The different, we're not representing.
Did I
them.
see that email? I didn't read it. I'm sorry. I read the top portion of it.
I was so confused by everything.
Yeah,
I was reading it.
so we're only looking at one variance tonight,
Correct.
137.
One variance, one request.
Easy peasy.
Might could be that simple. All right, so we're looking for some setback relief, correct?
Correct.
Walk us through it.
Basically, the NBR code, as you may know, says that there is a 15-foot maximum side yard setback allowed in the district. The bulk density schedule calls for a 15-foot minimum. We relied on the 15-foot minimum when we crafted the plans, and that is what we went by in setting up our site plan. One of our issues that we have in particular is that we have a significant area of wetlands to the north that we are trying to protect, obviously, and they are delineated on your drawing. I have a larger depiction of that
Yeah,
here for you
right.
too. Yeah,
Yeah,
the stashed area. And basically, we would like to maintain that area as the green space. And if we are basically asked to adjust the site plan now that we are pretty much this far down the road in the planning process, it would require some substantial modifications to the plan that would push us closer to those wetlands, adjusting our green space and actually taking and moving a lot of our parking closer to the rear of the property and Huguenot Street and the rail trail, and creating some potential visual impacts back there. It does not create any significance on the street frontage that we can determine. This plan has been in front of the Historical Committee Design Review Board at 3 separate meetings without any comment or suggestion about the streetscape itself. And we obviously have had almost a year of meetings with the planning board now, where there has been no discussion about this issue until it was just recently raised.
Are you using any original foundation that the original building was on? No,
We
you're
are
just
not.
knocking that all out. Okay.
But we are reducing the
What's the amount of the
impervious
variance that you're requesting? Just give me.
124 feet,
Square feet, it's square feet.
lineal feet.
Linear feet. Oh, it's up the whole sidewalk. It's up the whole.
It's
alleyway.
this
Yeah.
way, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ask a question?
Yes.
You said that you were working with the 15-foot minimum, but the other side is less than 15 feet, right? So
This,
Mine says 11-1.
pull up the,
clarifying what variance you're asking.
Yeah.
You're only.
I have
asking
a-
for it
I think that it says 0 to 15
on-
on one, and then let me pull up the notes I have here.
Yeah, this copy that you gave us has that size at 11-foot long.
So
11 points.
Tiny little I see it now.
yes,
Big
the,
eyes on that.
Pretty impressive.
it is very
That
impressive.
was like 20 years ago, something.
I don't wear glasses.
It said that it was.
It's right over here. You got it as 11. You need a variance on that side too?
We would not need a variance on that side because that conforms to the NBR regulation.
Okay.
I believe
Oh, thank you.
So it's just 15 people. there.
15 feet is what the
the.
the wetland side is.
Yeah, I
Let
got
me,
Oh, because it's different because, all right, go ahead.
NBR district 15-foot minimum
What's the
sorry.
distance now?
in the,
138 feet.
That's from end to end. I'm
That's
talking,
right, this one.
Yeah, right here,
That's-
right, I'm
This is
looking at-
138.
this spot right here, is
Yeah.
it from here to here?
Yeah, it's from there to there.
Corner of building
Mm-hmm.
perpendicular to the edge of the property.
Anthony, you're asking what's the difference distance from the driveway? to the
Yes,
wetlands?
yeah, that's what,
So the driveway's 30, so
So
100,
100, so
108.
30 yards. I'm trying to just get it.
From the driveway to the wetlands.
The front part of the.
Yeah.
Really, what I'd like to see, just to have an understanding, is from the edge of the drive, the side of the driveway, the far side of the driveway, to the closest point of the wetlands.
That would be the front piece here.
Yeah,
Mr.
have
Chair.
it go a little further up though, because it looks like the wetlands goes a few feet back and then you actually don't need it. And there are no wetlands, you know, right there.
Right here?
No, don't forget that part. Right, yeah, just give it to me like from that, yeah, exactly. Now, you could say 2 inches, but you're gonna need a bigger variance than that, so go ahead.
It looks like from the scale, it's about 40 feet on the
40
distance
feet,
scale.
so all right, so we're looking at 50, all right, so 40 feet.
Is this
got 40 feet there,
the
right?
wetland area that you have here? Is that your opinion, the state's opinion, the town's opinion? Who drew that line?
That's what I wanted to know.
Those are,
Want to see what it looks like from the road. What you're seeing.
see there, I know we have those delineated.
Do you know, the existing foundation? That's currently there?
Where it
is
fit
in line
or
with
the
it,
back?
so that. Well, I'm just wanting to know the northern point, because if it's like here, then I can go out and look at this foundation and go, okay, well, there's that much space. You know what I mean? I want.
So it's 124 feet in the length of it, but you're going up it. What is the,
You do, yeah, there should be a drawing in here.
really,
You have our bottom too? The full size. Okay. Hang on.
I got this old school
What
one.
is-
We did have. That was like
this one?
existing.
I want to see.
Yeah.
what the difference is. So it's in-
Okay, so one
Yeah, I know that. 45 feet.
I got you.
So,
And that's what the
What's the
existing.
distance? Where are
curb
you
cut
trying to
as
find? You're trying to find this
no,
this distance?
it's the edge of the driveway here, it's the wetlands, it's about 45 feet here, and it
Yeah.
gets a little narrower up there, probably about 30. So I just want to see, the impact on that.
Yeah.
and
Tony,
what it
here's
looks
the
like
existing
aesthetically.
conditions too.
Yeah, it's saying now,
So who drew
for
the
those
line?
wetlands.
The wetlands lines,
Yes.
those are state wetlands, and they were delineated by our biological engineer.
Okay, so you guys did the wetland.
And there's in your package, there should be the existing building plan as well, Sean, that shows you.
Did the original building have a variance?
Well, because we're talking.
No, pre-existing
So,
from the
grandfathered in?
NPR code.
This was blacktop, so we're talking.
So theoretically, you guys are actually creating more space.
Yeah, we're
We're trading for green.
Compared to the
space.
last building.
Oh, yeah, we're reducing our impervious
This is-
surface.
This is.
Yeah,
15 feet.
ultimately,
Right.
we're all
What does
using
it
that.
look like the wetlands there anyway, Scott? Are there
It's a,
trees
it's a
there?
big swell with a lot of cattails coming up
Reeds.
and it's there when
God, I
the
never
tribute.
noticed it. I got.
Reeds and drainage, it's that strip between us and the
No,
car
but
wash.
dug
Yeah, yeah,
more
yeah.
out, you wouldn't have need a variance. You just got dig a
When the
Dig a
tributary.
state wetland?
Because I'm
Sure.
over.
not
Yeah.
next to the state.
So you're taking back about 10 feet. Right, than what the other building was. You're giving about 10
Probably
feet.
close
Is that
to
back?
15-ish more, yeah. Because
Tony, what I,
Exactly.
when this happen, when I'm over there and the rains get heavy, is the tributary will spill up into that area.
Yeah.
That's there.
No, it's
for
good
it.
you have a little more room. No problem with the amount of pavement, right, that you guys are putting down.
Less.
As far as
Much less,
pavement.
yeah, we're lowering
You
the
gave us
impact
that
on
number,
the property.
Yeah,
There was a percentage somewhere.
So you've got 124 feet. But you're creating, so the old building was probably as close
The
as
old,
30 feet.
the old building
35 feet.
was 123 from the edge of the
Yeah.
property line.
And this is 138.
And this is 138, but the blacktop was significant, was
Yeah, yeah.
almost double.
Okay.
Like the blacktop was here.
Check whether that water is a stream, because there's a setbacks from streams that gives you a 20-foot.
Buffer.
Yeah, that overrides the other setback requirement.
Yeah, and I think that was the initial intention of that when that property was developed, before there was town drainage in there, is that that would collect all the water from up across the hill and it would drain down into the tributary.
You guys have, so you're actually creating more space. You guys have any, you can keep asking questions. I'm going to set the public hearing just to get that done. So can I get a motion to set a public hearing for ZB 23-0137 North Chestnut?
Motion.
Second. So the motion carries. All in favor?
Aye.
So we'll set it up also for June 13th. Put out the proper notifications, guys. You don't want to waste time doing it.
Yep.
All right, so you've got left, more building. Is there enough? Is that driveway wide enough coming in and out?
Yeah, the DOT has reviewed these plans and signed off. One of the concerns is that by shrinking and having to do a 15-foot, if we had to do a 15-foot setback on both sides, we
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to have the 30-foot driveway.
So this is wide enough. You're comfortable with this?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
All right.
DOT has signed off on this plan and they're pretty much down the road in approvals. on
Planning
this
board is
plan.
happy with the aesthetics of the front of this building?
Yeah, they've had no.
Yeah, they have bad
significant
taste.
issue.
What does it look like?
Well, the design review board has been okay with it. So the only thing we're kind of finishing up is just some window trim detailing on the front of the building at this point.
How much does it look like the building, zero place?
Very little.
Okay,
I mean, it-
look nicer.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, we're trying to do what we can from our desk here to make that corridor look good for not
Yeah, we're
for today, but
wrapping
for
it all the
your
way around.
kids, my kids, the people who move here and want to have kids years from now. I'd like to try to do that properly. The reason why, so what we could do is, you know, if you look at Main Street, it was confined to the width of what they did, and you look at how the traffic patterns now, and it's a problem, and it's not anybody's fault, but whatever we could do as we see the town growing up that corridor, it's inevitable. Make sure you didn't build for the traffic today, that you're building it for the traffic for tomorrow. Of course, Robert Moses did that. Look what happened to Long Island. There's a theory about that. I'm not going to get into it.
It's
That
so
the more
funny
roads
that-
you build, there's the more cars that go on, hence you have the same problem all over
Right.
again. I'm not going to ask you to put public transportation in. That's not really very feasible for this
well,
building.
we're actually
But
putting that connection. to
Safety,
the-
though, is what I'm getting.
We're putting the connection into the rail trail, so hopefully we can move.
I like that back there.
Pedestrian traffic off of the road and the sidewalks and get them using the rail trail more often.
Yeah. Is there any access? I know the rail trail will go through, well, it comes down to where, no, it's one block up. It'll go through zero. Is there going to be anything access for the bikers if they miss their spot for the rail trail?
We have
Yeah.
a bridge we're building. this-
Okay, so they can get back there.
And
Yeah,
we're
so-
actually giving the town an easement for a path across our property so people can
Beautiful.
go across to the rail trail and not
Yeah,
like
just
their
in case, because
trespassing.
what's gonna happen is this, people, they're gonna put something across the street from you. It could be a restaurant or something. People are gonna wanna walk out.
Sure.
They're gonna wanna be able to get across.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what's eventually gonna happen. And that's not today, but, you know, listen, if that car wash is still here 30 years from now, it could be a new restaurant for all we know. It could be something more.
Only if
So-
there's apartments above.
Yeah, that's.
The village
Touche.
community center is right across the street,
Touche.
so I can easily see folks coming out of there.
Absolutely. People can come out, yeah.
You know, we keep referring to zero place, which is a completely different thing, so I don't mean to do that.
Oh, no.
But the back of that has what currently is a public restroom connected to what now is a coffee shop. And that I run on the rail trail, bike on the rail trail all the time. And there is traffic, like there's foot traffic in it.
I'm not-
I'm gonna point out to you, if you're somebody who frequents the rail trail, this is one of the things that I wanted to build into this, because I live next door. My office is next door, and I walk the rail trail, and I love being part of this community and using these things. Look at all the green space that will come off here, picnic tables, open recreating space, barbecues. This is all gonna be designed to pull people in from the public to be able to recreate back here behind the property, while preserving the wetlands over here and really having the minimum amount of impact and lowered substantially what the ground permeable surface is that the right word? What the impact was compared to what was there and what will be there. Some projects I see, as I just look at these things, are using and consuming every bit of the entire footprint of the property. We're using like 2/3 of it. We're giving back quite a bit from what was there before.
Mr. Chair, did you want to decide on how you want to handle seeker?
Yeah, so that's about ready to do that. So, this was just confirmed, this was classified as a type 2 or
So it could be considered a type 2 because it's an individual setback, but the entire project is undergoing a secret review with the planning board.
so we're gonna make a motion to allow the planning board to be the lead. Actually, I don't have to make that motion because.
No,
they
they're
didn't-
already doing
They're already
that.
doing
So
it.
you can, wait until they finish and they'll be looking
Yeah,
at
so
sewer and traffic and those issues.
the main thing is we can't vote on this until we get back that environmental review from the CEQA. So, right, I can't.
If
do
you
anything.
determine it not
We
to be a
can-
type 2
Unless
action.
you want to Classify it as a type 2.
That's what I'm, yeah.
It
that's what I-
depends how,
But we still have to wait for the public.
You have to.
Yeah,
make a
yeah.
public hearing.
I wanted to make sure that we're okay if we have to vote. If we're ready to vote on the 13th, we're not waiting on any type of environmental impact. And if I classify it as a type 2, we don't have to wait.
Correct.
Correct.
Thanks, guys. You want a job?
Unanimous.
You want a job? I don't need to make a motion.
My board days are over.
You're right, 'cause I remember doing that last. It's been 2 months now. All right, I want to make a motion to classify this as a type 2 secret for 137 North Chestnut. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so 130 aye. So 137 North Chestnut's been classified as a type 2 secret. The planning board is the lead agency. It will not impact us at all for our public hearing. And should we decide to proceed forward with a vote on that date? All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
You guys have any
See
other
you,
questions?
At the next meeting.
Yeah, look forward to it.
Great, thanks.
The 13th, right?
Okay,
Yes.
thanks, guys. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I like.
I have the mailing list. It Probably
We're done?
No, not yet.
not since the last one.
Got 2 more things.
Okay. You got it.
Thank you.
Do they need to be certified return receipt of them or?
Yeah, they show us the mail.
Okay.
Just gonna be like.
Wait, I'm telling you right now, I think you're gonna show up.
Okay.
Good night,
Right, I
guys.
have 28 more requests with 17 subparts.
Listen,
I filled out the form this time, Sean.
I'm very proud of you, very proud of
All
you.
right, thanks, guys.
Follow his directions, one of my favorites, one of my favorite things.
Can I put that on my report card? Progress report?
Give you a solid B plus here.
I'll-
Solid
I'll
B
put it on the list. You pulled it out. You
Giving
know?
you a firm
You're
maybe.
lucky I let you read great stuff.
Try.
Okay, for our own administrative business, guys, has everybody a chance to review the February minutes? Just say, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, is there any questions on them, any changes that need to be made?
No,
Can I get a motion to adopt them into the minutes? Thank you, guys.
motion.
Second. All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
The February minutes are approved. Autumn, any village board updates? Good night, gentlemen. Any village board updates?
There's a meeting for me.
You want to go? Who wants to go?
There's a meeting. What else can we say? Someone's not here to speak. the board.
No, she's not. Are we still on television? I like to make.
I'd like to make a motion to turn off the television.
Not quite yet. For the people out there, if anybody's watching this, I do this for the mayor. We are always looking for volunteers on any board. Come volunteer, be a part of the community, have a say or an impact with your opinion. It's be greatly needed and appreciated. So get out there and want to be on a board. It's a good way to help your community out.
But ours is the coolest.
We do run a
Ours
tight
is
ship.
cool.
We do run a tight ship here.
You know what? I think we need shirts. I think that's the problem.
You're getting a little
I think
sassy.
we
We're
need
getting a little sassy on this board.
We need to
All
get, I want Hawaiian. That's or Hawaiian or